Welcome to This Can't Be Real channel, and today we're taking a rapid tour of real locations that look so unreal, you'll swear someone staged them for a movie. These places aren't CGI, they aren't sets, and they certainly weren't photoshopped. They're just nature and geology, doing the wildest impersonations you've ever seen. Perfect mirrors, candy pink lakes, rainbow mountains, burning craters that look like portals. Every stop on this list is an accidental lookalike, a weird coincidence, or a dramatic natural copycat of something familiar. Some places mimic clouds, others imitate paintings, and a few could be alien movie props. I'll point out the patterns, the unexpected matches, and drop quick surprising facts that'll make your jaw hit the floor. Stick with me, I'll reveal the pattern matches that tie these places together and one tiny shocking fact about each location that most people miss. This intro is short because we've only got about 5 minutes, but each destination is packed with visuals you won't believe. Let's get into it, right now. Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia is the ultimate optical trick. After a rain, a thin film of water turns the salt plain into a flawless mirror. It reflects the sky with near-perfect clarity. Standing there, you can't tell where the ground ends and the clouds begin. People walk on reflections, photographers float subjects in inverted horizons. Planes above look like they're flying through the earth. It's like someone flipped a giant sheet of glass over the landscape. The flats are incredibly flat. The salt crust holds a thin layer of water which reduces surface roughness and produces specular reflection across huge distances. The mirror makes accidental doubles of clouds, mountains, and people that confuse depth perception and camera autofocus. Quick fact: during the wet season, reflections are so perfect they're used to calibrate satellites. The wave in Arizona looks like someone took ocean surf, froze it in time, painted it sandstone, swirling ripples, striations that mimic liquid motion with impossible precision, carved by wind and water over millions of years. The sandstone displays smooth curves, parallel bands, that trick your brain into thinking it's a giant frozen wave. Hikers climb stair-like swells, walking on liquid rock. Those ripples are cross-bedded Navajo sandstone, formed from ancient sand dunes. Mineral cementation. Erosion exposed the undulating layers we see today. The colors shift with light, giving the wave a fluid moving quality even when everything is still. Quick fact: permits are limited to protect the fragile surface. You're basically walking on a geological masterpiece. Lake Hillier on Middle Island, Australia, looks like someone dumped pink dye into a perfectly normal lake and forgot to mix it. From above, it's candy-colored and surreal, a precise circular island surrounded by blue ocean that makes the contrast impossible to ignore. Up close, the water stays pink, not just at the surface but through samples, and the shoreline is rimmed by white salt deposits that make it pop even more. Scientists think the color comes from salt-loving microorganisms and algae, like Dunaliella salina, and halophilic bacteria that produce red and pink pigments under high salinity and sunlight. It's a natural optical stunt. The lake mimics a confection or an artificial pool, but it's completely real and biological. Quick fact: despite its bright color, the water is safe to touch, but remains a strict protected area. Zhangye, Dangxia, in China looks like someone unrolled a giant palette of paints across the mountains. Stripes of red, orange, yellow, green layered like an abstract painting on an epic scale. The banded colors sweep across ridges and valleys. From observation decks, the landscape reads like a deliberate mural. Visitors snap shots, close-ups of phones and cameras framing the layers. These colors result from red sandstone, mineral deposits laid down over millions of years, then uplifted and eroded into the dramatic ridges we see today. The layers' varying oxidation states and mineral contents produce the rainbow effect, a natural mimic of painted art that fools the eye. Quick fact: early morning, late afternoon light intensifies the bands into near-surreal saturation. The door to hell in Turkmenistan is a flaming crater that looks exactly like the gate to another dimension. A round, roaring furnace of orange flames, searing heat that glows for miles at night. This scene started as a collapsed natural gas field and was intentionally lit to burn off methane, resulting in a permanent-looking inferno that feels like a movie set. The pit's continuous flames are powered by trapped hydrocarbons. They ignite and feed the blaze, creating an almost purposeful portal effect in the desert. Locals treat it like a surreal landmark, tourists snapping photos from a distance. Quick fact: it's been burning since the 1970s and remains unstable and dangerous. Socotra Island feels like a movie prop for a sci-fi planet thanks to its dragon blood trees, umbrella-shaped canopies, thick gnarly trunks that look engineered rather than evolved. The trees' oddly shaped crowns cast weird silhouettes against the sky, and the island's isolated evolution produced a host of flora and fauna that read as alien to the untrained eye. Walking under those trees is like stepping onto another world. The dragon blood tree's bizarre shape is an adaptation to conserve moisture and shade its own roots in a harsh, arid environment. But visually it's a perfect mimic of fictional alien flora. Socotra's remoteness allowed evolution to play out differently, producing species found nowhere else on Earth. Quick fact: over a third of Socotra's plant species are endemic unique living costumes for an otherworldly landscape. Pamukkale in Turkey looks like a tiered castle of cotton, or frozen waterfalls made from snow-white mineral terraces that cascade down a hillside. The terraces are formed by thermal waters depositing calcium carbonate, creating pools and ridges that glisten with milky water and look sculpted rather than grown. From afar, the whole slope reads like an extravagant man-made spa built from porcelain. The travertine terraces grow as mineral-rich water cools and leaves behind calcite, slowly building ledges and pools that over centuries form a dramatic white stairway. Bathing in the ancient thermal pools was a luxury in Roman times and remains an otherworldly experience today. Quick fact: the name Pamukkale literally means cotton castle. Locals recognized the uncanny resemblance long ago. New Zealand's glowworm caves turn ceilings into constellations. Thousands of bioluminescent larvae cling to cave roofs. They emit a soft blue-green light. It looks like standing under the Milky Way. But indoors, the tiny points of light mimic stars with uncanny precision. The dark, reflective water below doubles them, creating an infinite sky illusion that subverts what caves are supposed to look like. The glow happens because the glowworm larvae produce light to attract prey, and when concentrated the effect looks like a perfect star field. Tour boats glide through, and visitors are usually hushed. The atmosphere is reverent and unreal. Quick fact: the species responsible is unique to certain caves, meaning not every cave will gift you a night sky indoors. Spotted Lake, or Kiluk in British Columbia, looks like someone scattered giant paint blobs across a flat surface. Seasonal evaporation concentrates minerals into colored pools, forming distinct spots with white mineral borders. In summer the water recedes, those dots become vivid patches of blue, green, cream. They form a natural polka dot pattern that seems almost deliberately designed. The spots come from high concentrations of magnesium, calcium, other minerals. These separate into discrete pools as water evaporates, producing color and texture contrasts like an artist's palette. The effect is cyclical, some seasons subtle, other years striking and geometric. Quick fact: the lake is a sacred site to indigenous peoples. Access is restricted to protect nature and cultural heritage. Reynisfjara in Iceland is a coastline that reads like an abandoned basalt cathedral on another planet. Black volcanic sand stretches to the surf. Towering hexagonal basalt columns form cliff faces. Sea stacks that look man-made and monumentally sculptural. The contrast of white surf against the ink-black beach creates frames and compositions. You'd expect it from a sci-fi director's storyboard. The columns formed as lava cooled and contracted into geometric pillars. Then the ocean sculpted them into dramatic cliffs and isolated stacks. Basalt's stark geometry and the beach's obsidian grains combine to create a landscape with architecture-like qualities. Quick fact: the area is famous for dangerous sneaker waves. Beautiful, but not to be underestimated. Weird coincidences or nature's best copycats. Bright. Today we ran through 10 places that look fake but are totally real, from mirror-flat salt deserts, pink lakes, burning craters. Each spot taught us a pattern. Geology, biology, time can mimic art, architecture, or even other planets in ways that feel deliberate, but are simply the result of natural processes aligned just right. If you love the visuals, remember every one of these places has a deeper story. Fragile ecosystems, sacred lands, geological histories that deserve respect. I tried to pack quick, surprising facts into every stop, so you get both the shock and the context, and I hope you leave wanting to see at least one of these in person someday. If this blew your mind, hit like, subscribe, comment which place felt most unreal to you, and tell me if you want a deep dive into any single location next. Thanks for watching, stay curious, and keep exploring.